Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Stephen Cox. I'm the founder of TakeLessons, and you are taking the video course on measuring your marketing. Welcome back. This is class number 4 already, and this is entitled Understanding LTV or Lifetime Value. So let's cover a little bit about what you've learned so far. So far you've learned 4 acronyms that will help you measure your marketing. They include CAC, LTV, ROAS, and EPH. And in the last video, we went in depth about learning customer acquisition cost, or CAC. This was the first step in making sure that we're able to get more money back out of marketing than what we put into it. Now, what we're going to do is talk about LTV. And at the end of this lecture, you're going to know how to calculate your LTV, why it's important, and you're also going to see some real-world examples. So let's get started. So what is LTV again? LTV stands for lifetime value. Sometimes it's also referred to as CLTV, or customer lifetime value. You'll hear both of them being used. Now, the purpose in calculating your LTV is so you can understand how valuable a group of students are to you. By calculating LTV across several different marketing channels, you may also find out that there's certain channels that you use that produce more profitable long-term students, while other channels may not. LTV is calculated by adding up the total sales and revenue that you generate from one customer over the time period that they remain a customer with you. Now, this would be calculated by multiplying the number of sessions taken by the price of each session. Then what you could do is just simply add any additional ancillary revenue pieces such as setup fees, late fees, etc. So let's walk through a couple examples. Let's go back to our teacher, Aaron. Originally from Europe, Aaron studied music performance at Berklee School of Music. He now lives in Atlanta and teaches guitar and French both online as well as in person. Now, if you remember, Aaron uses several different channels in order to secure new students for his business. Let's walk through each of these as an example. First, Facebook. Recently, Aaron did his first Facebook ad campaign, and during that time frame, 12 people contacted him and he closed 2 new clients. First, a mom booked her son guitar lessons, and then a young professional booked French lessons to help them with their career. For guitar lessons, that student took a total of 6 months. They were 30-minute lessons, and so that added up to a total of 19 lessons at $30 per session. Using this, we can calculate the student's LTV. You simply multiply 19 total sessions taken by $30 a session, and that equals $570. That's the student's LTV. The second student signed up for French. This online student took 11 hour-long sessions with Aaron over a 3-month period. Now, Aaron's hourly rate is $55 an hour. Using this, we can now calculate this student's LTV. They took 11 sessions at $55. If you multiply the two, you can see that the LTV is $605. Now, the goal is to have your LTV absolutely as high as possible. By keeping track of your LTV, you can see how you're growing year after year. Now, what's really cool is that you can see how much each student is worth. And you can also see how much LTV you're generating from your advertising campaign to make sure that you're actually making money when you're spending it. By adding all the students that was acquired through a single channel, you can then see the total LTV of that channel. In this particular case, you can see that we used Facebook. And we can now see that our Facebook advertising generated a total of $1,175, which is the combination of both of those students. Now, in the prior video, we also figured out that Aaron's Facebook ads cost were $558. And now we see that by spending $558, Aaron earned $1,175. Super cool, right? We can now immediately see that Aaron is getting a positive return, and that's really, really good. Now, if Aaron's costs were higher than his revenue, that would not be good. And then we'd have to take a closer look at whether he should keep doing Facebook or not. All right, let's move on to flyers. This is our second example, and it's print flyers. Many of you do these. Now, in this particular case, Aaron has secured one new student from flyering out at local businesses. Now, let's say that this new student tried out lessons for a month and then never called back. I'm sure that has happened to you, right? Of course. Listen, it all happens to us at some point during our career, sometimes weekly. So, Aaron taught 4 hourly lessons at $55 each. And so that was a total of $220 in revenue. But from our example in our prior video, we also calculated that it cost Aaron $270 in printing and in his time. So in this example, this channel would not be a profitable channel for Aaron. He earned $220, but it ended up costing him $270. Now, does this mean he should quit? Well, not necessarily. It means that he should keep a very, very close eye on it. If after another quarter or two he continues to lose money on this channel, then bottom line is it may not be a worthwhile channel and he could spend his money somewhere else. Always remember that these calculations, what they should do is provide you directions and signals. Now it's up to you to interpret that information and make the decisions that's going to be right for your particular business. Now remember, no matter how many different marketing channels you're using, the same formula applies. The important point is that you are keeping track of your LTV based on both the customer as well as the channel. This allows you to see where your most profitable channels are. And you can find again that certain categories outperform others. For instance, here at TakeLessons, what we found is that a violin student stays longer and is willing to pay more than a guitar student. Now this means that the violin student will ultimately have a higher LTV for the business. So what sort of decisions can we make from that information? Well, first of all, it means that if we teach both guitar and violin, we should first try to fill up our schedule with violin students first. And also it means that we should be willing to pay more to acquire that violin student than we would a guitar student. Now, it doesn't mean that we want to completely stop teaching guitar. Guitar has a lot of prospects and it is profitable, just not as profitable as violin. Again, these are just examples. You have to look at the data and make decisions for your own business. But the key is making sure that you're tracking and that you actually have the data to look at. And by continually tracking your LTV, you'll be able to gain incredible insights, just as we did, to make better business decisions. And that's what it's about. Getting smarter, acting more decisive, because you have better information that's going to drive your business forward. Okay, so let's summarize what we learned today about LTV. LTV stands for lifetime value. Sometimes it's also referred to as CLTV, customer lifetime value. Now the purpose in calculating your LTV is so you can understand how valuable a group of students are to you. By calculating LTV across several marketing channels, you can also find that there's certain teaching categories and certain channels itself that can produce more profitable long-term students, while other channels simply may not. LTV is calculated by adding up the total sales, your total revenue, that you're generating from one particular customer. That's calculated by multiplying the number of sessions taken by the price of each session, and then adding any additional revenue pieces, such as setup fees. Now remember, LTV is calculated on the total revenue collected from a particular customer. So, over time, your LTV would continue to rise for customers that stay with you longer. We want that LTV to be as high as possible. That means we're delivering so much value for our customers that they're sticking around longer and longer. So here's your assignment for the day. Get ready. Now from our last video, I had you pick 2 channels to calculate the CAC, and I'm sure you did, right? If you haven't calculated the CAC for those channels, go back, calculate your CAC for the channels. Now what I want you to do is we're going to calculate the LTV of those students that you've gained using those channels. And when you're done today, you should have 2 channels, each one with a CAC as well as an LTV. Now, after you're done doing your assignment, make sure you go do your assignment. Ask yourself a few questions. Here are a few that you want to consider. First, do you see a difference in your LTV based on the lessons that you're teaching, the subject? Can you see a difference in the LTV based on the particular channel? Do certain channels produce students that last longer or provide you more satisfaction than other channels? Again, all of this provides you data. Your job is to spend your time thinking, analyzing the data, interpreting that data, and then making business decisions based on what you've learned. Now, to make it easier for you, I've created a cheat sheet that you can use. And with this cheat, you'll be able to very quickly calculate your LTV for multiple channels. You can find it here. Go to tinyurl.com, measure your marketing. Perfect. Well, that wraps up this video. And in the next lecture, we're going to dive deeper into understanding ROAS, return on ad spend. Now, combining ROAS with the prior things that you've learned, both CAC as well as LTV, it's going to give you the tools you need to be a better business person and a better marketing person. So stick around. Congratulations, you're halfway through, and I'll see you in the next video.